Most digital products fail not because the product is bad, but because the sales message answers the wrong questions. After more than 15 years working in sales and copywriting, I noticed something. Every piece of copy that actually converts, sales pages, emails, videos, even short form content, answers the same 5 questions. When you answer them in the right order, the copy almost writes itself. I'm going to walk you through those 5 questions, and if you do this with me, you'll be able to create copy that sells in about 30 minutes. Now, this is not surface level stuff. We're not talking about generic benefits or add a CTA. This is going to be a deep dive into the questions buyers are already asking unconsciously from the moment they see your content all the way to the checkout page. Miss one, and they hesitate. Answer them all, and buying feels obvious. Capturing attention is exactly what the first question is designed to do, which is, how is this different? The moment someone sees your sales page or your content, their brain has to decide in milliseconds whether it's worth paying attention to. Now, this decision isn't logical, it's neurological. The fastest way to earn attention is novelty, because novelty is the number one thing that spikes dopamine in our brains. Dopamine tells our brain, pay attention, this might matter. That's why every piece of copy that converts opens with what's different, not what's better. There are 3 main ways to make an offer feel different and stand out. The first and least effective is having a new way to solve a common problem. A new diet plan that finally works, new AI marketing funnel that gets sales, or yet another productivity tool to organize your calendar. Now, this can work as it does help you stand out. The problem is that everyone is trying to invent new solutions to the same obvious problems, which makes this approach noisy and less effective over time. A stronger approach is to stop inventing new solutions and start looking for unique problems no one is directly solving or unique audiences that no one else is servicing. For example, instead of trying to invent the next diet fad, you could target Crohn's disease patients that struggle to lose weight because of medication and develop a solution for them. Or a program that helps parents of obese kids that are picky eaters. Or a simple 5-question sales copy formula specifically designed to help digital product creators get more sales. When your product is built for a more specific target, your message feels like it's speaking to them directly. And when someone feels directly spoken to, they stop comparing it to everything else in the market and will often pay a premium for the same solution. It's like being in a crowded room and someone suddenly shouts your name. So what does this look like in practice, especially on social media? Well, a simple opening formula you can use is this. If you're this unique target, you need to see this unique answer. For example, if you're a parent concerned about your kid's weight, you need to see this kid-approved diet plan that can help. If you're a restaurant owner struggling to compete with the big chains, you need to see this simple social media strategy that is filling reservation slots. If you're struggling with weight gain from your Crohn's disease medications, here's a simple plan that can help. If you're a digital product creator struggling to get sales, here's a 5-question formula that will create converting copy that sells in under 30 minutes. On social media, this is your hook. It's the first image in our carousel, it's your title or your thumbnail, it's the opening for any videos you produce, and it becomes the first sentence to open your sales copy. Now, your unique novel idea earns their attention, but the moment you have it, they become skeptical. And that brings us to question number 2. How do I know this is real? Once you've captured someone's attention with something different, the very next thing their brain does is look for proof of your claim. Because unique claims are interesting, but they're also suspicious. So the next job of your sales copy is to prove what you just claimed as fast as possible. Over time, I found there are 5 core proof elements you can use to do this reliably. You don't need to use all of them at once, but the more you can stack, the easier it is for someone to believe your unique claims. The first proof element are your personal results. These are results you have achieved using the product, process, or framework you're spelling. The key here is speed. You want results you can show quickly without a long explanation. In fitness, your before and after photos would work perfectly. In the business and marketing, screenshots of your earnings or clients that you've worked with act as personal proof. The next proof element is social proof. This is proof that other people have gotten the same results you have using your program. Now, the most obvious form of this are testimonials, especially when they include hard proof, things like before and after photos, screenshots, or specific outcomes. Social proof can also include people you've helped privately, clients, students, beta testers, or even the people that you may have worked with when you're developing the product. The goal here is simple: to show that this product didn't just work for you, it worked for other people. The next proof element is authority. People trust results when they come from a trusted source. This is where credentials matter. Are you licensed? Are you a doctor? Do you have certification? Are you a personal trainer that's worked for 10 years? Have you been doing this for a long time? Have any experts recommended this? Have you had any doctors or experts recommend and endorse your program? Have they used it themselves? You can also borrow authority by association. This is one of the easiest ways to add authority to any product. For example, this is the same investing approach used by Warren Buffett. Or this is the same diet strategy a celebrity used for their latest movie role. Or this is actually the exact same marketing framework that's used by top brands like Nike and Adidas. When you connect your mechanism to someone your audience already recognizes, it creates intrigue and keeps them watching to learn more about that connection. The final proof element, and often the most powerful, is demonstration. Can you simply show your product working? The entire infomercial industry was built on this idea, and it still works today. This is especially effective for physical products, software, tools, systems, and even if you're selling AI prompts and custom GPTs. One of the strongest demonstration headlines you can use is, "Watch me. Watch me generate 10 recipes in 30 seconds. Watch this ad pull in 50 leads in 2 minutes. Watch me teach this beginner to dunk a basketball in 20 minutes. Demonstration works because it replaces explanation with evidence. So which proof elements should you use? The answer is simple. Stack as many as you can. The more proof you layer in, the less resistance your buyer is going to feel. On sales pages, you can simply move from one proof element to the next down the page. On social media, proof makes the perfect second slide in a carousel or the very next section of your video after the unique hook. And in email sequences, each email can focus on a different proof element one after the other. So now we've done two things. We've captured their attention by showing how this is different. We've proven our claims by stacking proof, but there's still a big psychological hurdle left. Most people have tried new solutions before and failed. They're afraid to get their hopes up again. And we overcome that by answering question number 3. What's holding me back? At this point in the copy, your prospect isn't doubting the idea anymore. They're doubting themselves. They're thinking, I've tried things like this before and it simply didn't work. So the job of this section is to give them a concrete reason why they've failed in the past, and that reason has to do two things at the same time. First, it has to explain why the other products didn't work, and second, it has to make it clear that it wasn't their fault. And the way we do that is by using the unique mechanism of our product to explain past failures. In other words, we explain why what they tried before was missing something critical. For example, if your product solves a different problem than everyone else in the market, then the reason nothing worked before is simple. They've never tried something that is actually designed to solve that specific problem. Or if your product is built for a specific type of person that doesn't have any other solutions in the market that caters specifically to them, then the explanation becomes, other solutions didn't fail, they just weren't designed specifically for you. They were built for broader audiences, different levels, or different situations. For example, if you tried to sell digital products online in the past and failed, odds are you tried to follow general advice rather than sales copy strategies that are proven to work in your specific niche. When you explain failure this way, something important happens. You remove guilt, you remove doubt, and you give them permission to feel excited again. Because now the story isn't I failed, the story is I was using the wrong solution. And once that happens, they're ready for the next part because now they're thinking, okay, so what's different about this? And that's where the next session becomes critical. This is where we finally explain in detail how the product actually works and why this mechanism succeeds where everything else has failed. Now, before we move on, quick side note, if you're watching this thinking, okay, I don't even have a unique hook yet, or I don't really have an audience or angle dialed in, that's normal. Coming up with something different isn't about creativity, it's about structure. AI is actually incredible at spotting unique angles if you give it the right framework and the right prompts. I put together a simple 3-prompt AI system that I use for all of my market research. It takes about 5 minutes and it shows you exactly where the unique angles are in any market. If that would help, you can grab it at the link below in the description of this video. All right, now that we've explained why other solutions failed, this is the point where everything clicks. This is where we answer question number 4. How does this actually work? And this is where a lot of good sales copy breaks, because the instinct most people have is to start just explaining everything. They start explaining every step, every feature, every detail. And the moment you do that, you switch from speaking to the emotional part of the brain into the logical part of the brain. Attention drops, interest fades, and people stop imagining themselves succeeding with your solution. So the real question isn't, how do I explain my product? It's, how do I explain it in a way that speaks to emotion and logic at the same time? The answer is to explain your mechanism as a story, not a process. I use a simple 4-step story framework to do this consistently. First, you describe your life before the solution. You connect with their pain, their frustration, and the patterns that they're stuck in right now. You're showing them, I know exactly where you are right now because I've been there myself. Next, you tell the story of finding the solution. This is the moment you discovered why everything else wasn't working, the aha moment that changed everything for you. Then, you explain what changed once that insight clicked. Not with technical details, but with reliable outcomes. What became easier? What stopped being confusing? And what finally started working for you after you discovered the solution? And finally, you end with specific, tangible benefits you experienced after the solution was in place. Not vague promises, but real changes they can picture themselves having. This approach does something powerful. It builds connection, belief, and it allows them to understand your mechanism at an emotional level before they even need to understand the cold facts. Let me give you an example. For me, this didn't start out as a framework. I struggled for years to make a living selling digital products online. I'd pour everything into an ebook, something I genuinely believed could help people, and then post about it on social media, and nothing would happen. I'd refresh my sales dashboard every day, hoping to see something change. And day after day, there were just no sales. Eventually, I got tired of guessing. So instead of trying harder, I started studying what was actually working out there. I went through posts, the sales pages, the emails, everything of the people who were consistently selling their digital products online. And that's when I noticed something. Not a tactic or a platform, a pattern. Every sales message that worked answered the same 5 questions, and it always answered them in the same order. Now, when I look at offers that failed, including mine, they were always missing one of those questions, or they were answering them out of order. So I rebuilt my own sales copy around that sequence. At first, I made a few sales, and then a few more. And over time, it became predictable. I could launch new digital products, put them in front of an audience, and consistently generate sales using the exact same 5-question structure over and over. And that's why this framework matters. It's not about talent. It's not about creativity. It's about answering the right questions in the right order. You see how that works? Using a story, you can both explain how your product delivers on its promise while building connection and rapport. Now, once your mechanism is clear in their mind and they can see how it fits into their life, there's only one thing left to do, and that's close the sale by answering the final question, how do I get started? This is where a lot of good sales copy breaks down. Most people could talk about a product all day long, features, benefits, stories, but when it comes time to actually close the sale, they freeze up. Now, instead of improvising a close, I use a simple 5-pillar close that works for any product in any market. Let me walk you through it. The first pillar is called value stacking. Before you mention your price, you need to demonstrate the value of your product as many multiples of the price you're asking for. You start by demonstrating the cost to the buyer of doing nothing. In the health of the weight loss niche, that cost comes in the form of their health and sometimes with long-term consequences. In business or marketing, it's very easy to show the value comparison because it's lost revenue, wasted spend, or missed opportunities. In the personal development and productivity niche, it could be the amount of hours they lose every week that never come back because they didn't have your system. Then you take a step back and look at the product itself. Is this the cheapest that you've ever offered the solution? Do you normally charge more for this product or for coaching or for private help? Or what would it cost them to figure this solution out on their own if they had to? On top of that, you add the value of any bonuses you offer with your main product, and the price starts to feel small compared to the value. The second pillar is the price reveal itself. This is where a lot of people get awkward. They dance around the price or try to soften it. Don't. State the price confidently and then immediately explain why. This is the launch price, or this is an introduction offer, or this is a limited release. That explanation does two things. It prevents the sticker shock for higher prices and prevents your offer from feeling cheap compared to the value stack. There's a real logical reason for the price point. Now, the third pillar is your guarantee. As soon as someone hears your price, their instinct is to delay their purchase decision. Let me talk to my wife. That's not a rejection. That's fear of making the wrong decision. So after you state your price, you remove all of the risk. You tell them they don't have to decide right now. They can try it out, use the product, get the benefits, and if they change their mind in the future, they can get their money back. Now notice the language there, change their mind, which assumes they've already made up their mind to move forward. A guarantee alone clears a huge amount of resistance. However, you still need the fourth pillar, which is scarcity. Selling someone on buying your product is only half the battle. The other half is selling them on a reason to buy now. Scarcity isn't about pressure, it's about timing. And it only works when it's real. There has to be a reason that you're either limiting the quantity or limiting the quantity at this price. It could be that this is currently a launch discount. It could be that there is a limited number of spots available in your coaching, or that this is a beta test before you do the larger launch. Have a real reason that there's a limited amount of time that they can secure this price right now. When you combine a strong guarantee with real scarcity, you create urgency without anxiety. People feel safe and motivated rather than pressured. Now, the fifth and final pillar is a clear, specific call to action. At this point, they want to buy. The only thing left is removing uncertainty around the process. So be very explicit in your call to action. Tell them exactly what to do. Tell them where to click, what happens next, and what they'll see after they make their payment. Walk them through the whole thing. I usually like to say things like, click the button below to take you to our secure checkout page. We use Stripe so everything is secure. And after your payment, you'll land on our welcome page with the next steps. You can even show them the checkout page in your VSL or sales letter so that nothing seems unfamiliar once they finally click your buy button. This is also the perfect moment to add a small surprise bonus to nudge them over the edge. When you use these 5 pillars together, closing doesn't feel like selling. It feels more like guiding them towards making the purchase. And with this entire 5-question structure, you've answered every question they were already asking, often before they consciously even realized it. And that's how you move someone from interested to confident to ready to buy. So now you have a simple 5-step formula you can use to build sales copy to sell any digital product online. Now, if you don't have a digital product to sell, or you're having a hard time coming up with a unique idea, this video will walk you through the process that I use to come up with our digital product ideas where we've done over $10 million in sales online. Click here to watch that video now.